What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the Engage 8 podcast. I'm your host, Zach, with my two co hosts, Josh and Mike. Unfortunately, the NFL season is now at its close, and we're going to recap the Super Bowl, along with a couple extra stuff like commercials, a little bit of halftime show, stuff like that. And then we're going to give our final studs and duds before we hit the off-season content. And Josh, you want to get us started with that?
Yeah, I'll start us off with some of the non-game topics. Halftime, Usher was great. Alicia Keys and Ludacris were great guests. Lil Jon out there too. Swizz Beats. It was a good show. Usher's choreography is always great. He's one of the better performers of our generation, so it's good to have him out there. We've had some bad halftime shows in the past. Last year not being one of them. Rihanna was one of the better ones we've had ever. But we've had some bad ones in the past, so it's good that we're stacking good performances. Three in a row now, because we had the one with Kendrick, Dr. Dre, Eminem, 50 Cent. That one 2 years ago, then Rihanna, then this one. So it's been a great little run we've had there. Uh, Talk about some of my favorite commercials. Contrary to popular belief, I love the Temu one.
Same here,
Ooh Ooh
same here.
Temu is it's just iconic. I know people are hating it. It went off like six times in the Super Bowl, which is just crazy. But that one was great. I love the Duncan Boston one with Ben Affleck, J Lo, Brady. Who else was in that? For some reason, Jack Harlow was in that one. Not really sure why, but
Matt Damon.
um, Matt Damon, yeah, that
Yeah,
was a
he
that
was
was a
too.
great one. So those two were probably my favorites. The Kanye one was also kind of funny with the just him recording it on his phone. But yeah, those are some of my off game highlights.
For me, I thought the Super Bowl was, or not the Super Bowl, the halftime show was all right. I feel like it was definitely a step down compared to last year, but what wouldn't be? I feel like the choreography was really good, but I felt like a lot of the time was spent on that compared to the song choice. It didn't have me all pumped up, ready for a football game. It felt very slow, like methodical. It took a while to get to some of the bangers at the end, but I gave it like a 4.5, 5 out of 10
It's
on the grand total.
disrespectful.
I,
That's
I mean,
wild.
that's just me. That's just my taste, but some of the commercials, you kind of took mine with the Temu one. I love that one. But I also love the Beyonce Verizon commercial. Verizon, if you're listening, sponsor us, please. Um, Outside of that, I think
Okay.
I didn't see any bad ones out there. So that's my non-game highlights.
Yeah, I enjoyed the Usher halftime show. It was pretty good. I got worried a little bit there that he wasn't going to play Yeah, considering that's his favorite song. He waited till the end to finally play it.
They were playing
Nice
it
to see
in the
Ludacris.
the preview the whole time. No, there's
I
no
know,
way
so I
they were.
felt like they had to play it, but
There's
it
no
kept
way
going
they
on. There was another song. I'm like, wow, is this really not about to happen? And
did.
but it did finally happen.
That's what saved it for me.
Alicia Keys was great. She had a rough start, but she was able to respond and come back with a pretty good finish there. For commercials, I also enjoyed the Dunkin' commercial. The Christian Walken B&W commercial was pretty funny with the accent. The Paramount commercial, we'd seen that prior to the Super Bowl with them throwing, I don't know that guy's name, but throw the kid, throw the child. FanDuel,
Oh,
Gronk
was it Young
misses.
Sheldon?
No, it wasn't Young Sheldon. It was a cartoon character. Young Sheldon was there though.
Yeah, I remember Young Sheldon being there.
Yeah.
Can't
Uh,
can't forget the goat last season.
Yeah,
Never
Peppa
forget.
Pig. Peppa Pig was there watching. She
Yeah.
was concerned that she was about to be thrown next. Gronk misses the kick of destiny again. He's now 0 for 2. It's been a rough start. He was trained by Carl Weathers for the kick. Sadly, Carl was he was in the commercials. They had a nice little memorial to him at the end of the commercial, so that was sad to see. But disappointed in Gronk for missing that kick, especially. Couldn't get it done for Carl Weathers, so. Rough seeing the Kanye ad. I thought that was hilarious. They had people putting the Mysterio and Spider-Man speech when Mysterio was recording
Oh,
Spider-Man.
yeah.
The real identity of Spider-Man is Peter Parker.
Peter Parker.
That was funny. Kanye is just a hilarious fellow.
Yeah, he is. You go to Yeezy.com, Yeezy. I'm gonna
That's
put it on the screen.
crazy.
We're gonna have some shoes and shirts and stuff. And what else? Yeah, that's it.
But he didn't even say and shirts, it was just shoes. And I went to the website, there was no shoe. There's one
Yeah,
shoe.
zero. Yeah, I
And
didn't
it
see
isn't
any
even a
shoes when I
shoe.
went.
It's like the sock thing, the Easy Pods that he's been
Oh
selling.
yeah, I
The,
didn't
I
see
mean,
those when I went on
if
there
you want
though.
to call that a shoe. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe they're out of those, so it's just nothing, I guess now. But,
I will say,
um,
I saw that he spent like $7 million on that ad spot, and within 24 hours, he had made like $24 million off of sales. So,
you see what he did? He made everything in the shop $20.
yeah,
So people just went crazy, which is raw.
it's
I wish
he
everybody else
definitely
would.
profited.
for sure. Not people putting up $45 t-shirts on their websites and shit, like actually
Yeah.
making shit affordable.
Yeah.
And
Hey,
then it worked out.
Temu prices went up though. No longer $1.
That's
It's up a
Yeah,
crazy.
little
yeah.
bit.
Yeah,
I'm
I
hearing
wish
they're
it was
losing some
Temu.
money.
I that's the only thing I didn't like is the fact that we found out it's Temu. That
Yeah.
hurt. Because ooh Temu still works. Honestly, I think it sounds better.
Hmm.
It does.
Temu.
I'm still gonna
I guess
call it
I
that.
yeah, me too. But we move on here to the game at hand. This was a pretty good Super Bowl, another good one. I mean, we got to overtime. So it sounds a little weird to say pretty good, but that's just because it started so slow. But any game you end up in overtime, it's going to be a great game. I was looking at it since 2011. I know in the 90s there was a ton of bad Super Bowls, just a ton of blowouts. Since 2011, we've only really had four bad Super Bowls. It was the Seahawks Broncos, Broncos Panthers, Patriots Rams, and Bucks Chiefs. Outside of that, all the other Super Bowls have been super, super close. We've had two Super Bowls going to overtime. And what was Atlanta 2018, right? Or no, that was the Rams.
No, that
Might
was
have been 2017.
2016, I thought.
Maybe 16.
2016
18 was the
season
Rams.
because 2016?
2018 was Patriots Rams.
Yeah, then 2017 was Patriots Eagles, and the year before that was
2017,
Patriots.
February 5th, 2017 was Patriots Falcons Super Bowl.
Right, so
Okay, so
2016
yeah,
17 season.
2016 season. Yeah. But yeah, that I mean, we had that what is that, 8 years then? In 8 years we've had the only two overtime Super Bowls. So we're trending up. It's good to see. You don't want to get in the rhythm that they were in the 90s where it was just blowout after blowout after blowout. So it's good that we've gotten blessed with some good Super Bowls. This game though, both defenses were super impressive, especially San Francisco not having Greenlaw. That Greenlaw injury was just devastating to them. Just running on the field, tearing your Achilles is just wild. The 49ers, I think they win this game without just these random fuck ups that happened during the game, which is very similar to the NFC Championship where the Lions had a bunch of random fuck ups, lost the game.
Here we
This
go.
game, the Niners have the CMC fumble, they have the muff punt off the foot uh from I think it was 28 and then Ray McLeod like didn't jump on it, lost the ball. The Chiefs scored on literally the next play after that. So that was really where the game turned around or like those kind of plays. I think if either one of those don't happen, they win this game easily. Or to add to the random fuck ups, the blocked extra point really ended up being the difference. I mean, it's easy to be like, oh, they would have won the game because they would have had one more point, but Kansas City also doesn't go and kick a field goal at the end. They have 6 seconds left. They go and they take two shots at the end zone. And knowing Kansas City, they're probably going to get one of those. So maybe the missed extra point may have helped the Niners a little bit, which is crazy to say. But Mahomes, special in this one, 333 passing yards, 66 rushing yards. His ability to run the ball is maybe the most underrated in the NFL, which is just crazy to say that Mahomes is underrated, but like what he can do with his legs because he's such a good passer, it kind of goes under the weather. But like, I mean, look at the end of the game. They had fourth and what was it, three, and he's the one who takes the read option and goes and gets 5, 6 yards and puts you in a spot to win. And having a guy that can just run the ball and honestly, I'd have to look at all the quarterbacks, starting quarterbacks in the league right now, but there's a good chance he's top five most mobile. I think it's pretty likely he is. I mean, obviously behind like Fields, Lamar,
Kyler,
Jalen Hurts.
Richardson, Hurts. Nah, I can't throw in top
Josh
five.
It's,
Allen.
But
he's up
Josh
there though.
Allen,
Josh
yeah.
Allen. Okay, so maybe he's more like 6 or 7, but he's still
Danny
being
Dimes?
being.
No.
But no, he's fast, but Mahomes is a better runner. And Mahomes at least holds onto the ball. But regardless, if you have the best passer in the league, and uh, he's 100% top 10, best rushing quarterback in the league. So that's just something that's just going to be impossible to beat. I didn't like the Kelsey Andy Reid thing. Obviously, it's one of those things where they win the game. We're not going to talk about it as much. They lose the game. We're probably still talking about it. I didn't like it. It was kind of cheap to me. Obviously, Andy Reid's going to brush it off and say it's not a big deal. They just won the Super Bowl. Why would he make it any worse than he needs to make it? But it ended up working out because Kelsey got the ball a lot in the second half, dominated, led the Chiefs in receiving. And they needed him to show up in this game. Otherwise, they weren't going to be able to win it. But Dre Greenlaw goes down. Kelsey goes out and does what he has to do late in this game. I know a lot of people are talking on social media about the overtime thing, people not knowing the rules and whatnot. And oh, I think the Niners should have taken it second and tried to go score and go for two. Personally, I think it makes more sense to take the ball first in this situation, strictly because if you take possessions one, two, and three, I'm ranking them in importance 3, 2, 1. So I'm willing to take that first possession, sacrifice getting the second one, just to guarantee you get the third one. Because the very likely chance that the first and the second possession are tied, then it's just next score wins. And then at that point, it could be touchdown Niners, touchdown Mahomes, and then Mahomes is on the bench the rest of the game with nothing he can do. So I understand taking the ball first. I think that just makes the most sense to me. And last thing, just Mahomes, Kelsey, and Reed proved that it doesn't matter. Same thing with the Pats in their prime. They can struggle in the regular season, and it just doesn't matter. Maybe an all-time fuck up for me, considering they were struggling all in the season. And I was like, just wait, they're gonna get in the playoffs, and then all of a sudden they're gonna go win the Super Bowl. And I rode that all the way until the end, and then I'm like, fuck it, I'm taking the Niners, and then it backfired. So that's just how it goes sometimes. But I've learned my lesson on doubting Mahomes to the Chiefs.
Honestly, I was kind of flip-flopped from that because you mentioned that early in the season, I was picking against the Chiefs a good amount of the playoffs, but then in the Super Bowl, I was the only one out of the three of us to take the Chiefs because it's
Yep.
hard to bet against Mahomes and Reed when they got 2 weeks to prepare, all that. But to your point about choosing to get the ball first or second, I think you can argue both sides that you can
I
have a
agree.
good amount of success. To your point, like you mentioned, with the order of importance for which possession, like, yeah, having it first and third, that's probably your best bet. But if you go second, first team goes out like the Chiefs saw, they only got a field goal, then you just go and push for 7 or 6, technically. If the Niners got the ball first, got a touchdown, took the extra point, which honestly I would probably do because you don't want to risk giving up a touchdown, and then just an extra point beats you, you go out, get a touchdown to match their 6, and then you go for 2 instead just to win it, put your season on the line there, which I think Mahomes mentioned the next day on some sports show saying like, yeah, we were going to go for 2 regardless if San Francisco got a touchdown,
Of
got the
course,
extra
of
point.
course, of course.
Right,
So
which
there's a
honestly,
paradox right there.
right. I mean, I probably would have as well. But Chiefs played it well. I think the Niners, I don't think there was anything wrong with what they did. The fact that they didn't know the rules, okay, maybe that's a little stupid, but I don't think the decision hurt them in any way. Onto the game itself, I think Mahomes just showed you why he's the best player on the planet. He had a couple hiccups in the first half, and I think he had the interception in either the second or the third quarter. But other than that, I saw no mistakes. He was phenomenal. The last like 2 or 3 drives in the game, he was surgical. He was proving why he is, in my opinion, the second best quarterback of all time already before even turning 29. Mike, I know you might be a little hazy on that because of Peyton Manning, but I understand your point of view. But he has just been so good. He landed in such a good situation and has taken full advantage of it. Kelsey has been great. Tyreek Hill was great for the first like 5 years, and then he left. He won 2 in a row. Just absolutely insane. Don't forget about Chris Jones too. He's been there for the entire ride, and he has been a phenomenal anchor on the defensive side of the ball. And people working with Spags has been able to just, whether it's rookies or 30-year-old vets, DBs, linebackers, they're able to plug and play and get the absolute best out of them. I've been beyond impressed with what this organization has done, and they're going to be contending for years to come. The Niners, I honestly don't know where you go from here. I don't understand the firing of their DC, but you do have to kind of blame somebody. But you got to re-sign a lot of guys. Chase Young, he's only what, 25, and he made a couple very impactful plays in the first quarter, especially he had a sack. But you got a lot of guys on expiring deals this year or next year, and you don't have the cap space to do it with in probably 2 years because Purdy is a 7th rounder, so doesn't have that 5th year option. They're gonna have to pay him probably 45 plus million because he's been to the NFC Championship, he's been to the Super Bowl. He'll probably make the playoffs each of the next 2 years as well because Shanahan's a really good coach. He's actually a really decent quarterback who had a really good game actually, but it's gonna be overshadowed by the fact that they didn't win. And CMC being in the backfield, we don't know what's going to happen to him in terms of regression, like with other running backs as they age. Maybe he's a Frank Gore and just dominates up until he's 35, 36, or he falls off a cliff next year. We won't know, but I'm going to err on the side of caution or just optimism, I guess, and just say he's going to dominate for the next 5, 6 years. So he's going to be worth keeping around for whatever quarterback you have. And Ayuk was, I believe, basically a non-factor. He only had like 3 catches. There was the whole post-game turmoil with I think one of his friends or his brother or something putting on a story. Oh yeah, that's why we're leaving San Francisco. You give your 1,300-yard Pro Bowl wide receiver only 3 targets or 3 catches in the Super Bowl. What are we doing here? So I'm excited, not excited. I'm interested to see where that storyline goes. Debo was playing hurt. He had a couple drops, but for the most part, he was pretty good. Kittle, he made a lot of really good plays. He was really impressive. Trent Williams, he was doing Trent Williams things, locking up that left side. But for the most part, Kansas City, they just had the best player on the field at all times. I just can never bet against Mahomes. He's probably going to win at least 5 Super Bowls in his career. I'm hoping more. I want to see him catch Brady, but this game was, like you said, Josh, one of the best we've seen in the last decade.
Yeah, I thought Trent Williams had a pretty bad game, to be honest. He had a couple false start penalties early.
It
They had him
always,
pulling for a
yeah, true.
block. Yeah, missed the block on McDuffie. That could have been a big play for McCaffrey. That was a big one by Trent Williams. But Kansas City Chiefs, I guess they're officially a dynasty now. Looking for a three-peat next season, 3 championships, first back-to-back Super Bowl champions in 19 years. So just so impressive. Start of this game was very, very sloppy. It was Big Ten football. We saw McCaffrey fumble, Pacheco fumble, a lot of punting going on. But in the fourth quarter, game really ramped up. Got very intense. At the end of regulation, the Niners had a chance to kick a field goal as time expired, or if they could have kicked a field goal as time expired, if they could have picked up a big first down. Spags drew up a massive blitz, forced Purdy to throw it and miss a throw. Got Mahomes the ball late with a chance to go win the game. Got down to the like 5 yard line with I think it was like 8 seconds or 9 seconds. I thought they could have ran a play and still got a chance to get a field goal after they decided to just kick the
It was
field
six
goal.
seconds, I believe, but I think they
Six
should have too.
seconds. I think they should. Yeah, I think they had time to run a quick play and possibly win at the end of regulation, but they erred on the side of caution. Worked out for them. Their defense was just phenomenal again. Won them another massive game. Second Super Bowl to go to overtime, like you mentioned, Josh. First with the new Super Bowl rules. First NFL playoff game with the new Super Bowl rules. A lot of debate going back. Well, not even really. I feel like there hasn't been much debate. Everyone's saying they should have decided to kick the ball first. When the first happened, I thought they should have received the ball first because I'm with you, Josh. I thought the third possession is the most important. You have to go into overtime expecting to get a touchdown. Um, you can't go into overtime expecting to just kick a field goal after your defense gets a stop.
And
But
I don't even hate the move of getting the ball first, scoring a touchdown, and then going for two off rip. I know it's risky,
yeah,
but that at least guarantees you if you get that, you're guaranteed the
the
last
third
possession then.
possession. I agree. I'm with you. But there really hasn't, this being the first Super Bowl overtime, there hasn't really been a guinea pig for it to kind of look after what has happened before. It's the first time, there's no numbers on it. Um, like Mahomes said, if they had gotten the touch on the second possession, they go for two to win the game. That would have been interesting to see. That would have been one of the craziest plays in NFL
Yeah.
history, with as much stakes as it would have had, but doesn't happen. Kyle Shanahan blows another 10-point lead in the Super Bowl. He might never beat the allegations of being a Super Bowl choke artist. The only guy I feel like on the 49ers offense that really showed up and had a big day was Jawan Jennings. Became the second player to ever have a passing touchdown and a receiving touchdown behind Nick Foles from the Philly Special. Um, he was very nice. Had a great throw to Christian McCaffrey, trick play touchdown. Also had 4 catches, 42 yards, was solid. McCaffrey had 8 catches for 80 yards, but surprisingly, they couldn't get the run game going as well as I thought they would. I thought that was going to be the main factor. Really, neither team could really get the run game going. Pacheco only had 59 yards. Mahomes was their leading rusher. Um, just disappointing for the 49ers. Again, you're in a position to win the game. Uh, the two big plays were obviously the muff punt where it hits out the player's leg. Ray McLeod, he should have jumped on it and just got on top of it. He tried to kind of pick it up and run. Never really the smart move, but he was just put in a rough position there. I don't put too much blame on him. And then the next play was a touchdown to MVS. It really ignited the Chiefs' offense, got them going. And then the other big moment wasn't even a play. It was the Dre Greenlaw injury, like you guys touched on. One of the worst injuries I think I've ever seen, considering the stakes. Uh, it wasn't gruesome, but just running onto the field, excited to get out there. He was having a very good game up until that point, and you just blow your Achilles like that. That's just, it's terrible. You could see Fred Warner on the sidelines after was struggling to keep his emotions in check. He was overwhelmed. I understand that completely. That's just got to be something. That's your brother out there. And then Dre Greenlaw's replacement, Oren Burks, came in and really didn't play well at all. From the stats I saw, he was targeted 9 times, gave up 9 catches and a touchdown, 134.7 passer rating when targeted. Uh, if Dre Greenlaw's out there, I would almost guarantee that those numbers don't happen. So just disappointing if you're a Niners fan, obviously.
Yeah, I don't have a ton more before we get to studs and duds here. I just did want to say that we had two field goal Super Bowl records in the same game, which is just crazy that Moody got it and then Harrison Butker topped him shortly after. I'm happy because if we just had Jake Moody etched in history like that when he's just straight up not that good of a kicker at all, him having the longest field goal ever would just be insane. It was shocking to me that the longest was 55.
Yeah.
That's insane. Like, no, I guess people just are going for it more in the Super Bowl or punting more, playing it safe. But
Probably a lot more
55
playing
and
it safe if I
57.
had to guess. Last few
Yeah.
years, people have really started turning the corner on the analytics of fourth down, whether it's Brandon Staley or uh fucking what's his name? Dan Campbell and Ben Johnson with the Lions now. I mean, I'm sure we'll see a lot more of those more often with like risk plays, but yeah, I mean, before then it was just a bunch of Patriots, and there's no way they're gonna take any crazy risks because it's Belichick. He's not doing that.
Yeah.
Butker's a dog,
Good
though.
kickers, though.
Oh,
Yeah,
100%.
Butker's a dog. He's already becoming a top 5 kicker of all time, which is crazy.
I was surprised that Vinatieri didn't have like a super long one or something.
Yeah.
It was
Yeah,
at
he was
least
in enough of
55.
them.
Still the GOAT, though. Don't put Justin Tucker over him. Still the
Yeah.
GOAT. First ballot Hall of Famer
Not
next
yet,
year.
not yet.
But yeah, that's all. If you guys got anything else before we get to studs and duds here.
I did want to go a little bit into detail because my professor in class today actually brought my attention to it. Um, the Tony Romo like call at the end of the game for the touchdown, that was rough. He should have just, as my professor said, kept his pie hole shut.
That was Nance's call, and he like
Blew
kind
it.
of
And
talked
Romo
about it.
hijacked it.
Crazy.
It was
Yeah.
terrible. He should have
That's
just
always
let
the
it.
play-by-play guy's call.
I know. I think
And
that
then he
the,
gives a whoa,
initial-
Jim.
This is the
know,
Mahomes
Jim.
special right here, Jim.
but the
That's
initial
all we
call,
needed.
him saying jackpot, Kansas City in Vegas,
Mhm.
genius. But then Romo came in. Oh, it's the Andy Reid special, Jim. He
Yeah.
came in from the trips and then he forced the switch on the corners. Like, shut the hell up. Like, you ruined
bad.
what could have been an all-time call given the context and the location of the game. That would have been just chef's kiss. Romo ruined
Yeah,
it.
that
That's all
was
I want to say
brutal.
about it.
That was brutal.
I don't know if you guys heard the radio version, Kevin Harlan. He gave an all-time call. So he always
Yeah,
gives
I
think I
all-time
heard it.
calls. But yeah,
Kevin Harlan's he's
one of the GOATs. He is one of the GOATs. He's
100%.
great.
100%.
He's
It
so
sucks
good.
that they just stay putting Kevin Harlan with the worst analysts ever, like Reggie Miller. Is just oh my god, it's just I like Reggie Miller as a basketball player. As an announcer, he's god awful, and I can't believe they just stick him with him every game. It bothers me all hell. Harlan deserves better.
I don't think he's
He
too
does.
bad.
Brooklyn
But
Nets fans
putting
are
him with
lucky.
Harlan, yeah, I think that's
Yeah, they are, bro. They are. I mean, that's an all-time crew right there. But all right, I got a few studs and duds here as I'm going through it. Obviously Mahomes, that's just a given. But as far as some lower key ones, Mecole Hardman only 3 catches, 57 yards and a touchdown, but two of the biggest catches in the game, that deep ball early, and then obviously the
What
game-winning
a throw.
touchdown, which apparently he didn't know was the
He
game
blacked
winner. He
out.
blacked out or something like that. So that's cool. I don't know why he was drinking so much during the game, but I guess he just blacked out right after the touchdown. But Leo Chenal, he was great for the Chiefs. He was their fourth leading tackler. He had the big forced fumble at a TFL too. So he was great for them. Nick Bolton, of course, as well. 13 total sacks. He's been a freak all season and a big reason why Kansas City won the Super Bowl this year. And then for duds, I'm gonna go. He was all right in the blocking game. Wasn't anything special, but Kittle, only 3 targets, of course, but I mean, that's credit to Nick Bolton and Leo Chenal and other Chiefs linebackers, of course. But Kittle only having 2 catches for 4 yards is not a recipe for success for the Niners here. I feel like the Niners' best games, outside of the Ravens one where he went off, but usually Kittle goes off and that's their best game. He has 2 touchdowns, 90 yards. So it sucks for him. But yeah, I think that's what I'm going to give it just two in general because the Niners didn't really have anything that was like too they didn't play bad. Like they both teams played pretty good, especially defensively. But I guess Owen Burks, the guy who came in for Greenlaw, would be on there as well. But nobody like out of the stars for the Niners, I feel like played super bad. Because I mean, I want to say Debo, but he's playing injured. So
Yeah. Did you see the CMC fumble with George Kittle?
Oh, I did.
I
It was
don't think I
something you
did.
can't even
He
script.
was
It was
he was blocking George
Yeah.
Karlaftis, right? On the play. he
This
he,
is
he
so
like
good.
lets go of the block and he goes, "Hi, George," and then George Karlaftis jumps on because the fumble's out by then. George Karlaftis jumps on the fumble, and George Kittle is just standing there looking at him.
It was so funny. It was so funny.
That's bad. Was that on the NFL films that came out?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Hi,
I didn't watch it.
George.
That's
Hi,
And George
George.
crazy.
Karlaftis
He
is watching the
dives
play
past
jumping
him
on
and
the.
just zooms at the ball. It was
That's
great.
brutal, man. That's bad. Actually, that's really bad.
Yeah. He was coming back to
That'll
the Super
lock
Bowl with
in.
vengeance, though.
Yeah,
2
another
He
catches.
hot
made
take.
it back. All
Yeah.
right. My stud would be Juwan Jennings, honestly. It felt like he had every single one of his catches just felt super important, whether it was a key first down or just getting 10 plus chunk yards to just move the chains. And then obviously the passing touchdown, like you mentioned, Mike, second player ever in Super Bowl history with a passing and receiving touchdown, second to only Bears legend Nick Foles. And then my dud of the week is the 49ers receiving group minus Juwan Jennings. Yeah, Debo was playing hurt, but to only have 8 total catches combined between Kittle, Debo, and Ayuk, who are all, I think you can argue, on a normal team, X factors beyond a shadow of a doubt. But when you're all together, you just can't only combine for the same amount of catches as your running back. You got to be way more involved than that. I'm disappointed, honestly. If CMC didn't fumble, I think I'd have him as my stud of the week. But Juwan Jennings, it just felt like he didn't make any mistakes. He was, as the 49ers organization says, no block, no rock. Juwan Jennings was blocking and he got the rock enough times. He threw a touchdown pass and caught one as well. I think he played phenomenal, but the rest of the Niners receiving group just had to step up and they didn't.
Yeah, for my stud of the week, Trent McDuffie. He was phenomenal all game. Had a big pass breakup deep. He had a game high 3 pass breakups, 3 tackles. Very big blitz late in the fourth quarter on that last possession for the 49ers that forced the field goal late in regulation. He was phenomenal. The Chiefs defense was phenomenal. I'll give it to him. For my dud of the week, I can't go with a player who just won the Super Bowl. Otherwise, I think I was really disappointed in Rashee Rice. I thought he was going to have a big game. He did have 6 catches, but only 39 yards. But my dud of the week, I just have to go with Kyle Shanahan. This is your 3rd Super Bowl that you've participated in, where you've been up by more than 10 points and you blow it again. Honestly, in the first half, they were kind of dominating the game. They were able to move the ball better than the Chiefs. They had the bad fumble with CMC that killed them, but they looked like the better team in the first half. And the Chiefs, being the Chiefs, he let them come back in, take over the game, find a way to win late. Obviously, the coin toss shenanigans late hurt him, but yeah, uh, Kyle Shanahan's my dud and Trent McDuffie's my stud.
Yeah, I mean that first drive, it felt like the Niners were rolling. They were scoring a touchdown on that
Yeah.
first drive, and
Yeah,
CMC doesn't fumble. Like
Such an
that's
uncharacteristic fumble.
I know that's that was that and the muffed punt.
The punt,
That was it,
right?
man. That was the whole game right there. But yeah, we had another good Super Bowl. Good NFL season overall. First NFL season on the pod in the books.
mm,
For the future,
Crazy.
yeah, it is. Um, for the future, we will be, of course, still talking about the NFL and the NFL headlines that come out with the draft and free agency and any other players randomly asking for trades, which will happen at some point here. So we'll stay in touch with those headlines. We'll also be talking about some NBA here with the season getting closer and closer to the playoffs. All-Star break this weekend. College basketball March Madness is coming up here in just about a month. So we'll be heavy talking about that as well. I would expect episodes to stay on once a week on Fridays. For the near future, if something changes, we will let everybody know. But from now on, expect episodes on Friday morning/afternoons. But until next time, everybody like and subscribe, and we'll see everybody in the next one.